So finding the pH of a weak acid isn't quite as easy as finding the pH of a strong acid, but it's still pretty easy. How do we do it? Okay, so let's say you have a 1 molar acetic acid solution with, the Ka for acetic acid is 1.8 times 10 to the negative 5. So we already know that. And now how do we find the pH? How do we even begin that? How do we begin to do that? So there's only one thing we can do is break out our handy dandy ice table. So it's the exact same ice table that you've seen before. There's nothing that's changed about it. And you have your acetic acid in equilibrium with your acetate ion and your proton. And you can't think of this like we did with our strong acid of going to completion. You need to think of this as an equilibrium. Okay, so let's fill it out. We start with a 1 molar. We have 0, 0. We minus an x, that's a big X. We add an X and we add an X. You end up with 1 minus X, X, and X. And so hopefully you all know how to do ice tables, but you end up with x squared over top of 1 minus x equals 1.8 times 10 to the negative 5. And I'm going to assume you all know how to do this, or how to do some basic algebra. Plug the quadratic into some program, or do it out by hand if you really want to, just for fun. And you get x is equal to 0.004234. Okay, so what does that tell you? Well, it tells you the concentration of our acetic acid, it tells you the concentration of our acetate, and it tells you the concentration of the proton. The only one we really care about now is the proton. So, because the concentration of the proton is just X, this equals the concentration of protons. I guess I should say proton activity, but, whatever. And we take the negative logarithm of this, and 0.004234. And you end up with a pH of 2.3732. And that's pretty much it. That actually is everything. Well, something else that I should point out is sig figs. Some people don't understand the sig figs for pH. This has 4 sig figs, not 5. If I were to write this as 2.4, this only has 1 significant digit, not 2, and it's wrong. If I write 2.37, you might think this has 3 significant digits, but it isn't. There's only 2, so this is borderline right-wrong. You're really going to want your 3 or 4 spaces after the decimal places when you're dealing with pH. So that's everything for this video.